it comes to restoration and when it comes to getting the miracles that we are wanting, that we are needing, that we are hoping for, we all have to, so I said this before, we all have to build our foundations, right? We all have to build our muscles, but more than that, we need to learn how to let little things go. And by that, I mean even things that don't necessarily feel like they are little. There are so many things that happen in a day that Satan is really just using to put strife into your life. To be frank about it, there's no other. We're not supposed to be easily offended. We're not supposed to be easily hurt or bruised. And that's something that comes with time and with really being intentional about what we dwell on in our thoughts, what we think about, we bring about, right? It's really just that simple. And what we talk about, the things that we dwell on often become who we are, and they become our world, right? Whether we want it to or not. And I think it was Terry Savelle Foy who puts it. She says that every time you say something, say, and that's just the way I want it, to check yourself to see, is that really the way that you want it? Is that what you want to happen? We have a lot of authority here. God gave us authority over the earth, so He has given us the authority to affect our environment, our world. That's well within what He has given us to do. And when we are so busy focusing on a hurt or something that made us angry for whatever reason, we're not doing and we're not dwelling on what we need to be dwelling on. We're only supposed to be dwelling on the Lord. We are only supposed to be learning and building on our foundation of the Lord. Anything else is just fluff. It's fluff. So, for example, I got excited about a video last night, and I wasn't thinking about it. I was just excited about it. It was kind of late. It had been a long day, Anyways, needless to say, it wasn't really received well. When I was all excited about it, and the energy that I was giving just wasn't received well. And it hurt me. It hurt my feelings. But we have to watch too that our pride doesn't get into that. We're not supposed to be prideful. We're not supposed to be proud. Pride comes before the fall. So, yeah, we really need to watch that we don't allow Satan to use that and turn it around. And I really had to fight with it last evening for a little while. It wasn't as bad as the night or 2 nights previous. That one was harder for me. It seemed a lot bigger of a thing than it was. There was a misunderstanding that Satan was using to try and put strife and hurt and anger and all sorts of things into my marriage again. And not that, no, don't take this the wrong way. Not that our marriage is perfect. It is not. I don't know that there is such a thing as a perfect marriage, right? There's 5 million things going on in a day. All inner workings. Think think of it like a clock. If you open up a clock or a watch and you see all the little cogs in there, everything is moving, and it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to try and juggle all of everything that's going on. Now, things are not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to be feeling, love for each other and enthused about what the other one wants to be enthused about. Now, me in particular, though, I've always struggled a bit, and the Lord's working with me on this, but I've always struggled with feeling lonely, and feeling like I'm not the choice, and I will never be the choice, and the priority, and that's a me thing. That's something that I need to work through with the Lord. It's not it's not a good scale for me to use when I'm feeling lonely. That usually doesn't have anything to do with anything healthy. And that's usually always just a destructive thought. It's a destructive feeling. It's just Satan trying to get to me and turn me around. And he's gonna use whatever he can to get to you guys, to get to us, to me. He doesn't want us to just walk where God wants us to walk. He doesn't want us to take our hurts and the things that happen in a day and take them to the Lord and seed them and sow them for something better, as we reap what we sow. We reap what we sow. So he would much rather us sow strife. He would rather us argue about it. He would rather us say things that we regret. And the other night I did say something that I regret, and I had to rebuke that and unseat it. I reacted, and I should not have reacted. That was part of why I was so upset. It wasn't just my husband and what was said in that conversation, but I really had to fight with that night, because I reacted in a way that I was not happy with, and I was not wanting to sow what I said into our relationship. I asked him to please go away and I don't want him to go away. I don't want my children to go away. I don't want to lose what is precious and dear, right? And my marriage and my family are precious and dear to me, and that is not ever something that I want to say to anybody that I care for. And so I did and have taken that to the Lord and just asked that nothing negative grow from that. Because I don't take that in my life. I don't take that in our relationship. But it's, I think one of the most important things to remember about hurts and things like that we have when we go through is take it to the Lord, sow it to the Lord, but then be okay with letting it go. Be okay with not having anything else happen, not having anything in the physical happen between you and the person who offended you. It doesn't matter if it's your spouse, doesn't matter if it's a friend, doesn't matter if it's your mom, your sister, doesn't matter who it is. Just be okay with being okay with the Lord, being peaceful in the Lord, being joyful in the Lord. That is everything, right? It doesn't matter if that person apologizes to you. It doesn't matter if they understand. It doesn't matter if you understand. It does not, in the scheme of things, that's not important. None of those details matter. That's all fluff. That's all stuff that we get sidetracked with that doesn't matter at all. And when we choose to let that go, when we choose to be okay with what the Lord is offering us and giving us in those moments that we sow that and we let it go. He gives to us. He gives to us. So I sowed last night for something better immediately, and I was better. I also was a little bit snippy, and I need to work on that. That is a me thing. That happens when I get hurt. I have to work on letting go better so that I don't hurt other people, the ones that I love, while I'm hurting. That's not okay, and that hurts me more in the long run anyways. But I sewed it. And all the video was that I was excited over was a door. It was a different type of door. It looked really cool, and we happened to need a door among many other things. But I was just excited about it. I just saw it and was like, ooh, I really like that. That would be something that would be so cool to have. And so I took the reaction and I sewed it. And this morning, I sewed it, and the Lord had me apologize. And of course, my first reaction, my first reaction, because I do struggle with pride, was, well, I don't feel like I did anything to apologize for. I got excited over a video and wanted to show that and share that, right? That doesn't feel to me like something that I need to apologize for. But the Lord reminded me to be compassionate and to be merciful. And the fact is that we do have long days. We do have many, many things going on. Full-time jobs, both of us, 3 kids, a puppy. There's so many different things that contribute to both of us being tired and feeling overworked and just not having a ton of energy, especially at the end of the day when we are in bed. When I happened to find that video on Facebook. So, being in that mindset, my husband was so sweet and let me take a bath instead of taking one himself. He took a shower. He did take one. But that's not what he wanted. He wanted to be able to relax his muscles in the tub. And I know that was a sacrifice he made for me. So I thanked him for doing that. And I apologized for being over exuberant. I guess the way that I worded it probably wasn't the best way to word it. I apologized for essentially bothering him with the video when he was tired, right? And I meant it that way in an honest way. Is just I know that it probably wasn't something that he was in the mood for right then, and I apologize for that. That's what I meant in that apology, and I hope that was received that way. Thinking about it, it may not have been, but my husband this morning messaged me and told me that he would see what he could do about a door like that. And that was amazing to me, and I am and was very thankful for that, and I am praising for that. And that's the kind of thing that after I sewed it, I did this after I got to work, but I let it go. I wasn't expecting anything from my husband at all, really. I wasn't expecting a response. I wasn't expecting, I didn't expect anything necessarily right this morning. I know that we reap what we sow, and I sowed compassion and I sowed love, and that's what we get back when we do that. And the Lord is so happy to give us things when we just let Him have control and give up the need to understand, the need to be apologized to, the need to be understood by people, we were never created to understand everybody, and we were never created to be understood by everybody. We were created to be understood and to understand the Lord. That's it. That's it. When we put Him first, when we seek Him first, we open the door to receive those sweet little blessings that He wants to give us like that. And to me, it feels huge. It feels so great. So great to have that from my husband, and to have him then clarify after the fight the other day, not a fight, but after the conversation that was just, it didn't go very well, to have him clarify what he meant, that was huge. That was huge. And that happened because I let it go to a point. I still needed, I was still kind of hurt. I was still hurt by the time he got home, and I was still seeking the Lord in that. And I did let my husband know that I just was hurt, and I just needed space. And sometimes you do need to do that. It's better to do that than to say a bunch of things that you don't mean, and get into an argument or hurting each other. And just, it's better to take some space sometimes and just get your head back straight. And that's what I was doing and what I was searching for. And in the process of that, my husband was able to explain himself in a better way, more of what he meant. And that was opened up and able to exist because I depended on the Lord in those moments of high emotion. I won't lie though, I did dump some alcohol. I dumped some alcohol, and I took some space and some time, and just, I dumped the alcohol for a couple reasons, but the main one was just I didn't want to lean on that. I didn't want to be in a place where I was trying to numb myself, because it was tempting to try and do that. But we really need to live out those moments and ride out the waves with the Lord, and not by numbing ourselves. But yeah, so when we allow the Lord to be our understanding, we're supposed to lean not on our own understanding anyway. We're supposed to depend on the understanding of the Lord. So that means we need to accept and be okay with not always understanding what in the world we are doing and why, and what somebody else is doing. It's harder to accept that you're not always gonna understand what somebody else is doing, or why they did it, or why they said what they said, but it's important. It's a really important key for getting to a better place between you and the Lord, and then opening up that pathway so that the Lord can then give you a better life too. It's a side effect. It's a blessing that we open ourselves up to when we can do that, when we do that. Sorry, that was a big light bulb for me. And I didn't have all of that knowledge until pretty much last night when I was going through it and giving it to the Lord, and then this morning when it was just hours, just a few hours between there and now, and the door was so opened to receive that sweet blessing. And to me, that's just amazing. That is so great. And I don't even know how to articulate that really well, but God is so good, and He will give to you, and He will protect you, and He will keep you. and He loves you so much. Don't let the emotional stuff dictate anything. And that will only lead to destruction. And you don't want that. You don't want that. Everybody wants the blessings. Everybody wants to walk in that light, in that path where we are able to be provided for by the Father. But it's hard to believe that. It's hard to be committed to that. It's hard to accept that. Even getting to that point is a journey, but it is very, very worth it.